Serious depression generally requires professional help, whether or not that includes antidepressant medication or not. But there are some supplements that have been tested fairly extensively and may improve your symptoms if you experience mild depression or related conditions such as seasonal affective disorder. Dr. Andrea Sullivan, a naturopath and homeopathic physician, joins us again this morning to talk a little bit about that. And before we get started, NBC4 is not endorsing any of these treatments. We're just giving you some alternatives to traditional treatments, and everyone should always check with their own doctor before starting any kind of treatment or supplement. So welcome.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Now, a lot of people, they think supplement for depression, they hear St. John's wort.
Yeah.
It's been studied a lot as a remedy for depression. What do you think about that?
I never use St. John's wort. I mean, I've been practicing for over 25 years. I never use St. John's wort.
Is it a homeopathic remedy?
We don't use it homeopathically. We use it as an herb. It works for some people. It doesn't work for others. Generally speaking, St. John's wort would not be the first herb I would think of.
And can it hurt someone if they go to the store because it's sold right over the counter?
No, it can't hurt you, but it's not going to help you. And then you're going to think that herbal medicine or naturopathic medicine doesn't work. And it does work. But herbs that I would think of before I think of St. John's wort would be valerian, which is where Valium, the drug, comes from. I think of passiflora, and I think of chamomile. Those three things mixed together can very often help with people who have anxiety and depression. But I wouldn't do any of it without checking with someone who knows what they're doing, and I certainly wouldn't use it longer than 2 or 3 months, 2 months at most. If you don't see a change, I would definitely stop it and do something else.
So with these stores that sell medications, even drugstores now,
sure,
they usually have a natural section where you can go in and just pick off anything you want.
Absolutely.
And there are people working in many of the stores that will stand and help you decide on things, but you don't think that's a good idea?
Well, I don't think it's a good idea unless you know what you're doing and that you know what you're going after. And again, if it's not working after a month or two, stop it and do something differently. But what works better for depression, because I know we have a time issue, is homeopathic remedies. Homeopathic medicine, clearly, I do it all the time. For depression and anxiety, it works great. Homeopathy is the use, as you know, of an herb, a mineral, or an animal substance that can evoke in the patient the healing that needs to take place when you find something that actually would create the illness in a well person. And
we know that there are a lot of people who like to use homeopathic physicians. I mean, I think you sent me a list that included Queen Elizabeth and a lot of other people.
Tina Turner, Paul McCartney.
But there are
every president, not every president, but presidents from Lincoln to Clinton have used homeopathic medicine. So I just want to show you something. If you sniff this, just real quickly, you're going to have burning eyes. Hopefully that's not going to affect your broadcast. Your eyes are going to be burning, your nose is going to be running. This is a homeopathic remedy called the onion, Allium cepa. This is a homeopathic remedy for hay fever, for a person that has burny, runny eyes and a runny nose, and all of the symptoms that go along with taking a toxic amount, as you just did, of this particular plant.
So you would say to a patient who came in and who was having hay fever or any kind of allergies and their eyes are running?
And burning. Has to be burning, and nose has to be running, and also acrid.
And let it burn you even more?
Well, no. I would give the homeopathic remedy of Allium cepa. I would give the homeopathic, which means this onion would be diluted so much so that only the energy of the onion is left. But moving to depression, let's take a remedy like Staphylos aureus, for example, which, you know, all these celebrities that are in the news nowadays, speaking of stars, you know, Lindsay Lohan, for example, I would give her Staphylos aureus.
Why would I give her?
That would help her to increase her self-esteem. That would help her to have more of a voice. That would help her to feel more powerful. Because now, given her history, I think she's a victim of abuse and still feels that victimization. I think she probably had a household where she had to walk around on eggshells, and so those eggshells have now come about to haunt her.
Well, then what would you give Charlie Sheen?
Well, Charlie Sheen, I would definitely give him Veratrum album. And the reason for that is because he's manic at this point. His behavior is abusive, his language is abusive, his behavior is erratic, and we use that very often for people who are in a manic stage.
And we know that there are many people who do choose homeopathic remedies, and not just naturopaths use it, other physicians.
Absolutely, and most of the homeopaths at the turn of the century were actually medical doctors.
Well, we're so glad to have you. As always, nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
It's always interesting to hear.
One other note I just want to say for the people of Japan, I would love to give them the remedy Ignatia for the depression and grief and shock that they have participated in.
It's a very sad situation.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, Barbara. God bless.